cold and wet. The engine management light came on at 30 miles into this trip. I'm only 80 odd miles in, and I've got 2,000 to go. It's fucking worse. Fuck me. So no, that wasn't a fun ride down here. I was freezing, cold, wet, miserable, cramped on the bike. But these videos are all about finding out what it's like to live with and own a fairly average Chinese bike. Cost £4,000 second hand from a dealer. They didn't know what I was doing. This one is all about what it's like to do 2,000 miles, long days, every day in the saddle, down to the south of Spain, 2 days rest, back up again to Santander. I'm getting ready to settle down for the night in my cabin here on a Brittany Ferries ferry. 3 times I've been across with a bike into France, and I just really love the fact that I can get my head down, rest here and be ready to go. 8 in the morning I will be landing, ready for a full day's ride. If I took the Eurotunnel, yeah, it's quick, it's cheaper, but I'd need to factor in a hotel because I'd be riding down there, coming across and then ready to ride again. So also I'm further south. I plotted it all out on Calimoto to each of the hotels, averaging about 300 miles a day. But yeah, we're gonna have to find out what this bike's gonna be like. And it wasn't very comfy on a fraction of the journey. So come with me and we'll find out what happens. These are the kind of back roads I want to explore. I don't want to smash it in as quick as I can down the motorways. Find the code. The code didn't really make much sense, but I think it was 1098, I think, which is the dump sensor signal voltage too low again. Hello. Right, so that's the end of day 2. 310 miles, about 8 hours in the saddle. Started off cloudy, cool, comfortable, nice ride out. Great thing about docking at Saint Malo is that you're straight into beautiful rural France and no wading out of Calais or anything. Crossing was fine, a little bit rocky, but kind of rocks you to sleep a bit. The Zontes made a lot more sense. It's small, it made it easier to turn around the road when I kept missing turns. But yeah, it makes sense on these kind of roads, but I still got uncomfy. After about 4 or 5 hours, my bum was aching bad. I just tried standing up, but the geometry of this bike is so cramped. Even standing up, it's not comfortable. At one point I had my legs over the crash bars, just trying to get some comfort, clenching my bum cheeks. It's just, and it doesn't help it being so hot. And it's not as hot as it's gonna get, which is worrying me. I am genuinely worried about the heat. For me, more than the bike. But the bike, it hesitated on me at one point. It felt like it had dirty fuel. I want to say misfire, but it probably misfired, just be cut out altogether, wouldn't it, with a single? But that really made me nervous. So the engine light's gone off and then come back on again. So there's definitely something going on there, but it always does that. But this hesitation made me nervous because obviously I don't want it to break down, but I also don't want it to break down when there's no shelter, when it's really hot, because it's so hot at the moment. And I'm not even into the major heat yet. It's also stalling more. It's always stalled when you're at high revs and you back off into a junction or something, but now with this heat, even in towns or the villages, it kept stalling. I haven't got any of them on camera because it was never when there was anything that I wanted to show you, but there was one time it was quite hard to restart. I had to end up at the side of the road and properly restart it rather than trying to catch it and fire it up as I was on a roll. So that's worrying me. Maybe it'll be all right. I hope so. because I've got a long way to go. I'm off to Pamplona tomorrow. That's going to be about a 7-hour ride, and I'm going to leave early. Then the next day I'm going to just east of Madrid, and then that's just south of Malaga. So it's going to be some long rides. Yeah. Good points about the bike. Things I've learned about the bike. The brakes I've always said are fine. The J1 calipers. I'd like them to have more bite. Somebody pulled out in front of me, and also missing some turns, but it needs a bit more bite. Also, the gearbox is a bit mushy, especially when you've had to slow down suddenly and you've got to knock it down, get it down into a lower gear. Compactness of it is kind of good, but it's uncomfortable. I'd struggle to recommend it. Really would struggle. We'll come back to that later. Look, the good thing is I've ended up in this beautiful sheet here. I booked this, not freebie or anything, but I thoroughly recommend it. L'Ombre, I'll put a link in the description because it is beautiful, and the couple that run it are so nice, and the food's amazing. Definitely worth stopping. I'll get some sleep tonight, and hopefully tomorrow will go well. Well, it's lovely and cool now. It's probably about 6:45. I set the alarm for 6. I just want to beat the heat. So I really am worried about the heat. Loads of people who live in Spain warning us about really high temperatures there and how bad they are to ride in. I'm still in France, but I thought I'd take a quick break to tell you a little bit about the bike. If you don't already know about it, it's a Chinese bike. Obviously, it's Zontes ZT350-T. Single cylinder motor, dual overhead cam. It makes a claimed 39 brake horsepower at 9,500 RPM. Now, after this trip, assuming get back everything okay, it's going on the dyno. So do make sure you hit subscribe to see that, because it's going to be interesting to see what this really makes. Torque, 24 pound-foot at 7,500 RPM. It doesn't feel like it's lacking in power. It does feel like it's lacking in brakes. I always thought they were okay, and I think I've said earlier, particularly when you need to brake quick, they feel lacking. I think a lot of the problem is due to the amount of dive in the forks. So the suspension is fine. Again, I had to jack the preload up before I came out because it was so low. It's got low ground clearance anyway, but all the weight of this luggage on, it was sitting really low. And winding that preload up was a pain in the arse. It doesn't come with a C-spanner. I had one, but getting in there and doing it probably took a good half an hour, and I didn't get it all the way up. But it does feel a lot better. It handles fine. And I'm conscious I'm saying this bike's fine a lot, and in previous videos I've done that before, said it's fine. There's a lot of things it's fine. What's not fine is the warning light coming on all the time. The kind of what seems like lack of support at the moment. Really lack of good support from the dealer network, and the hesitation it had. Now, touch wood, it hasn't done that again since. It's also been stalling, hasn't stalled today. So touch wood, so far today's been a good day. Really enjoying the riding. I am still uncomfortable. The geometry of this is very cramped for me. I'm 5'10". Yeah, it's just really hard on my bum. This is my daughter's old pushchair cover, sheepskin pushchair cover. It helped on a trip before we were in Northern Ireland, but on here it's not really helping. It's not really an enjoyable place to be. Luggage, you've probably already noticed the luggage. Shad SH38X expanding panniers and SH44 top box. Top box is fairly standard. It's I can easily get my lid in there. I'm amazed how much I can get in this. I'll put a link to the full review in the description. These panniers are brilliant. I'd like to have had them compact so that I could filter more easy, but actually, although they do stick out further than the bars, which makes judging them a bit hard, I got it through my back gate, which gave us at home, which gave me a good idea of where they kind of, where it fits. and actually I've been filtering okay, and they haven't really affected, well, they haven't affected handling at all. Most of the time I'd use things like this. They're compacted and maybe have a little bit in there, but then when I stop, I can open up and get on my gear in. Really good bit of kit that, really impressed. Other changes I've made, Oxford auxiliary lights, essential because the headlight on this is absolute rubbish. The Chiji AIO5 light, that's proving handy. I'm using Calimoto to plot all the routes. I've plotted all the routes through here. Fantastic bit of software, but unfortunately the charger stopped working. So I'm having to keep my phone in my pocket with the screen off to conserve energy as much as possible. So it's streaming to the Chiji, or Chiji, but unfortunately Calimoto doesn't work with Android Auto yet. So I've had to transfer all the routes over to plot them onto Google. A big thanks to Calimoto for sponsoring this video, which is helping towards the cost of buying the bike. Calimoto does an incredible job of finding the best roads on any route, far better than anything else I've tried, which is why I've used it for so many years. Granted, in Spain, pretty much everything is awesome, but I've discovered some amazing back routes, even close to where I live. So whether I've got a spare hour or two and want a new ride, or I'm planning a big trip, Calimoto's app or its desktop software is what I use. Give it a go yourself for free using the link in the description. If you don't like it, just cancel the subscription and you'll not be charged. Or there's a link to subscribe with 10% off, but whichever you choose, I opted not to get any affiliate payment from it. I just want you to enjoy it. Also some Oxford run lights on the back because the tail light's quite hard to see. Tyres, Bridgestone AX41S, they're the scramblers. Now I wanted something a little bit chunkier because I took it on the ABR trail, but there wasn't anything available in that size, so went with these, proving good. Great on the road, not that much grip off-road, but they're all right. So yeah, I'm gonna get back out on the road. I'm trying to beat the real heat here because it's it's gonna get really hot. So I got up at 6 this morning, left just before 7. And actually in the shade, through some of the trees through here, I've actually been shivering. So the mesh on this is working. So yeah, I'll see you at the next stop. I just wanted to stop quick because this trip hasn't been great so far, and actually about 20 miles ago this just cut out. It seemed like a misfire, it just died, but then came back on. It was really worrying me. But now I've just crossed into Spain. I'm on the N135 and it's just amazing. Yeah, this is still a bit uncomfy, but it's a proper beautiful mountain road. The locals, I'm letting the locals past. I'd be faster on a faster bike, but still the locals, I'm no match for them. But yeah, finally this trip's good. The N135, if you're anywhere near it, it's just amazing. And small bike like this, good fun. The switchbacks, you have to change down a fair bit. Second gear on some of them coming up the hills, mountains, but it's worth it. Brakes, yeah, it could be better, but it's still, this is so good. This is what I wanted to do. So yeah, it's still hot, but I'm going to keep going. I haven't got far to go for my next hotel, but I'm so glad I've had this. This is awesome. Hello. Yeah, so today's been a lot better. Leaving early really helped. I was at Hotel Zenit in Pamplona, where I am now. It's a really cool hotel. I do like luxury. I'm not a proper adventurer, am I? I like my luxury and comfort. But getting here by 2, it was hot when I got here, but I hadn't noticed. I was actually chilly when I left, about 7, just before 7 in the morning. But yeah, I went into the hotel, checked in, dropped some of my stuff off, and then came back out, and it hit me just how hot it had got. But I think because of the heat building up through the day and not being in it for too long, it was okay. And that mesh suit really helped. I was a bit worried about, obviously the chest and back is an airbag, so it can't breathe much. It's got 3D mesh, so that really helped. So I was pretty miserable last night, to the point that I was thinking about looking for ways to get back and sack it off early. And I am still worried about the bike. I mean, after that, where it cut out, it's worrying me, but it was a good day today. And the riding on that M135 is just incredible. It's so worth the trip. And it does mean I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow now. So anyway, just let me get bathed and have a beer. Well, I've just stopped for a bit because I'm getting achy. I've been in the saddle about 4.5 hours. Well, I've told you enough how uncomfortable this can get. But the roads are just absolutely mind-blowing. This is pretty well the most direct route from Pamplona to Cuenca, where I'm headed to. But the mountain passes, either going through mountain valleys or up and down the mountains. It's so amazing. Everything people say about the roads in Spain is totally true. While I've stopped, I just thought I'd take a quick moment to explain what I'm wearing and why I chose to wear this kit, because I've got a fair bit to choose from. So the most obvious thing is this Moto Airbag V4. So this is a airbag vest, as you can see here, but it also comes with a removable mesh jacket. Now this has got level 2 armour in the elbows and the shoulders, but it's lined with 3D mesh, so the air can move around you pretty well, and obviously it moves across your arms and in brilliantly. And I've been really impressed. I wouldn't want to wear it walking around in the sun in 34-degree heat, obviously, but you wouldn't want to wear any kind of jacket. But riding, it's been really good, and bearing in mind I am stopping by 2 each day because it's getting really hot then, and I do notice the warmth, but as long as you're moving, really good. Very impressed with this. Actually in the shade in the morning sometimes I've actually been chilly, so yeah, really good. And the difference with this one over other tethered airbags is it's huge coverage. It's got full chest protection, and full back and coccyx, and it comes out over your head. And also, this is unique, it's got this tether which goes really long, and I have tried very hard to get this to fire accidentally and can't, but there will be a full review coming soon. But it's like a seatbelt, I don't want to do it too hard, but actually you have to really yank it, so you can see in a crash, as you're thrown forward quicker, it doesn't matter where it is, it doesn't have to reach the end of its extension like a lot of other tethers. This it immediately pulls and fires both the airbag systems. It's actually got 2 canisters, so really impressed with this. Jeans, I'm wearing the Roadskin Taranis Elite. They're a single layer jean, but they do have a comfort liner for comfort and to help protect you against skin shear. And I've got the optional Rion armour in here, which is level 2 armour. Really lovely, comfortable stuff. Very well ventilated, really well made stuff. Boots, I've got the TCX Street 3s. Now these are waterproof boots, which I didn't actually want to wear because I thought they'd get too hot. They've actually been fine. I've got some really nice formers that I chose because they're not waterproof. So they've got very good ventilation, which would be a bit more comfortable in the heat. But unfortunately, I've got quite wide feet, and the shape of those formers just means walking around all day, they get a little bit less comfortable. So I went for the TCXs. Formers are great, but just not quite perfect for my feet. Gloves, I've got the Spidey X-Forces. I went for these because they're a short cuff glove and very well ventilated. Now I actually wanted to wear my 5 RFX2 Airflows, and they're level 2 KP, so they're the most protective standard. Really, really well ventilated. But unfortunately, I've actually got a hospital appointment. As soon as I get back, I've got some arthritis in my hands, and they've kind of swollen just a little bit. And in the 5s, I've gone up from an large to an XL. Helmet, our Quantic. Had lots of helmets to choose from. Did think about wearing a flip front. Partly, it's handy that I can still have the chin mounted camera on here. With a flip front, obviously that would have been a problem. But also, with a flip front and with a drop down sun shield, you don't get the venting right at the front. It has to move back. The Quantic is the best ventilated helmet I've used. Best ventilated full face I've ever worn, I think. Obviously in this weather, I'm just wearing the black visor all the time, which is great. Shoei in particular have done a really good job with their drop down sun shields now, but you still can't beat a black visor, I think. And also this is just, for my head, the most comfortable helmet I've worn. So for something I knew I'd be in all day, every day, yeah. I've got the Cardo PackTalk Pro, which has a crash detection on it. Been reviewing this for a while. I had it while it was in pre-production, like beta version. Very, very good sound quality, but it is a very expensive one. I'll do a full review of that. Under my trousers, I've got some base layer trousers. Speaking from experience, wearing cotton box shorts or anything like that gets horrible once you get hot and on very long journeys. So a pair of technical base layer trousers, fill them up with talcum powder in the morning, and a lot more comfortable. I was wearing a full-length technical top on the first day, but that just got too hot. It was like a skin-tight skins one. Partly I look ridiculous in that, clearly, but it was just too hot. And actually having a short sleeve t-shirt on now has really helped. This is an EDZ technical top. I've worn EDZ kit since they started. Really nice quality stuff. Had this years, and I actually wore this yesterday and today. Probably won't wear it tomorrow, but it still doesn't smell yet. But I've also got some cheap Mountain Warehouse technical t-shirts, and of course I've got this Oxford Atlas rucksack on. And I've got a Krieger R30. It's been all around the world with me, and this is going to go around the world with me now. The reason I had it undone is because this airbag, and I've had it undone for most of this trip, this airbag vest, and probably all of them, shouldn't be worn with a rucksack that fastens on the front like this, because it can't expand for me. But I found it perfectly comfortable while I'm riding just to have it undone. Normally, have it done up, it's got this fidlock connector, which just snaps shut, really secure, very, very comfortable. Loads of room. It's got a removable waterproof bag, but you can actually double them up, so I've put 2 in, so I've got sections in. It's also got space for a hydration pack. I'd say the best rucksack I've used. The only thing Oxford could do to make it better is those removable liners. Make an optional one that's padded so it's insulated, like a cool bag. That would be excellent then, because I could use it as a cool bag for carrying stuff in when I'm riding the bike, push bike, walking, whatever. So Oxford, get on it. So I'm going to get back on the road again now, and yeah, this has been nice to have a break, but this is so good. Well, I'm in Cuenca, and nothing really to update, to be honest. The bike hesitated slightly at one point, but other than that, it's been well behaved, which, as you'd expect of a bike that's a year old. But the roads were incredible. It's so good here. I really am desperate to come back, and I'd love to come tour with my wife. But I think I'd get the ferry straight down to Santander. Tomorrow is motorways. The heat is getting better, but I'm keen to meet my wife and daughter, and also I plotted the route based on it being motorways. And although I started thinking actually I'll do back roads, it's a bit too far really. I think I'll be a bit too knackered. So end on a high, but if the motorways fraction as good as the main roads around here, still probably quite enjoyable. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Look here, it's just on 8:30 on a Monday morning. There's nobody in front of me, behind me, this way.
2,200 kilometres. That was about 6.5 hours ride with about 20-minute break. Well, two stops, 20 minutes, and one that was just for fuel. So really the bike did quite well. It's 30 odd degrees out and it's just going pretty well near the red line for all of that. So I kind of got to give it to it. It did well. Motorways here are amazing. I got held up twice and that was for like 30 seconds, just slowed down slightly. Nothing like the UK. But now I've got 2 days off, so I'm going to jump in the pool. Well, I'm now in Toledo, beautiful place. It was probably 6.5, 7 hour ride this morning, and I got up 7, left about 20 to 8. I'm really tired on this ride today. I kept feeling like I was trying to doze off, so it wasn't the most enjoyable ride, but still plenty of proper like whoa moments, especially coming around the corner and seeing Toledo open up. Such an incredible place. I'm at the bottom of the hill in the Eco Hotel. It's not the nicest place I've stayed. It's okay, it's cleanish and quiet, but everything I think is up the top, so I'm gonna have a wander up there. But the bike, been all right. The engine management light came on again pretty well straight away. I hadn't long left Benalmádena. And it's the code 1098 again. That reset after 4 start-stop cycles, but then it came on again within about 20 minutes. Other than that, no hesitations, but I did have it stalled twice, but they were quite close together. It was on a downhill slope and it was very low on fuel. It said 75 kilometers, but you cannot trust that fuel gauge. So whether or not it sloshed enough to starve it of fuel, it's quite kind of what it felt like, but it wasn't far to filling station. So overall, a good ride, not my favourite ride that I've had, but still a good ride, and it was really cool going through huge swathes of olive trees. Another good day, looking forward to having a break tonight, and tomorrow's really my last proper ride, and then it's just a short stretch to Santander the day after, and then home.
Oh, that was embarrassing. I went in to order a Coke and a toasted ham and cheese sandwich, and the guy was lovely, asked me all about the bike, really friendly guy, and he'd already poured my Coke as I was asking him, checking that I could pay with card or contactless, and he said no cash, or it was something else. I think there's some kind of virtual card. I couldn't work out. I was having to use Google Translate between us. And I felt so bad, and he still insisted that I have the Coke, so lovely, generous bloke.
that's it, 3,200 kilometers on a Chinese bike. I didn't do an update last night because it was nothing really that much to update you on. The only thing of note really was that at one point I felt like the bike was hesitating a little bit, so I pulled over and just checked the oil, but it was all fine. Maybe I was imagining the hesitation, but a lovely Spanish guy on an R1250GS pulled over and just checked I was okay. But yeah, other than that, lovely views. The roads weren't as amazing as I'd got used to. I think I've been spoiled by some of the especially coming down through Spain. The roads this time, well, they were good, still well worth riding, but I was really tired, so about 3/4 of the way in, I hopped on the motorway and finished the route off there to the B&B, which was beautiful. Really big place and lovely old building, definitely worth a visit. Really great hosts, and they said they're really keen to have motorcyclists there, so I'm going to put a link in the description. I'll put a link to all the hotels I stayed at. And this wasn't like a spend what I want or anything, you know, I've tried to keep the cost down on everything. And none of them provided the accommodation. This is just a really good place to stay. And I'll put a link to all the routes as well. But anyway, yeah, beautiful room, really lovely breakfast as well. And there's no shops there or no restaurant either. So I rode the 10 minutes into the next town, got some food and ate that on the veranda while reading my book, and yeah, beautiful. And then in the morning there's a natural spring runs under the room apparently that I was in, so I used the village's natural spring to fill my water's reservoir. And then the road here, the N611, was so good. It was a perfect finish to this trip because it just reminded me just how stunning the roads in Spain are. People say they're perfect roads, and they are good in many ways, but they're the perfect twisty, mountain, brilliant roads. Surfaces aren't all perfect, but the back roads, there are some potholes, there are some rough surfaces, but it was awesome. The views, the twist, the bends, and the people, they just understand bikes, because around here they're used to seeing motorcycles. Anyway, yeah, took that road and then got to the port 2 hours before departure. Ferry terminal was really clearly signposted in Santander. And then I went through check-in and passport control, no problems. Didn't even have to take my helmet off. Held for a little bit with some other bikes as we waited to be loaded onto the ferry. But within 40 minutes of getting to the port, I was in my cabin and having a shower. And it's lovely. It's really nice. The crossing over to France was good with Brittany ferries, you know, really good. But this one's like another level up. It's quiet, really clean, really lovely. And I have got the premium lounge, which is £85, and it's free food all day, and it's brilliant. You're right at the front. And my wife likes the idea of it because I pointed out that it's got wine on tap. Now this crossing from Santander to Portsmouth would be £283.50. If you wanted to reserve a reclining seat, that'd be £13. So it'd be like sleeping on a plane, really. If you want an inside 4-berth cabin, that's £147. If you want an outside 4-berth cabin like this one with a window, you get TV as well, that's £169. For £315 you get a 2-berth club cabin that includes TV, video on demand and tea and coffee making facilities and free access to the lounge. So that's probably well worth considering if you're travelling with your partner. 4 berths, you could easily get 4 people in here, but you would have a bit of a struggle with if you brought too much luggage in. So think carefully about what you want to carry. 2 of you, it would be fine, but yeah, really impressed. And if you want to ride in Spain, personally, I wouldn't bother coming down through France again. The roads are a lot like England's, really, but nicer bread and better croissants. And it is great. It'd be a lovely way into France, enjoy France and other great places in Europe to explore. But if you want to go to Spain, I'm going to do it again, and I'm just going to come straight down to Santander. Would I do it again on this bike? Well, it hasn't broken down. I'm happy now. When I'm back in England, if it breaks down, it'll be fine. I did take out breakdown cover, just in case anything went wrong here, but I'm not confident I'd be able to get parts or anything if anything went wrong here, and I just didn't trust it. That and the fact that it wasn't comfortable, really. I'm 5'10", it's just too cramped, the seat's too small, but to be fair, I was doing a lot of miles each day and staying in the saddle for a long time. Anybody sensible would have been stopping more and getting off more, and a few times I did get a little bit more time to get off, but this has been a test of the bike, it hasn't been a holiday, honest. And I wanted this to be part of this proper test of this bike this year. bought the bike. Zontes isn't involved in it at all, and they certainly haven't shown any sign of being involved with it with some of the dealer support I've had, but we'll have some future videos to find out more. There's things you need to know about the servicing, but stay with me on this video, because as soon as I get home I'm going to shoot the tips that I've learned that I think are worth knowing if you're coming into Spain. Right, if you're nervous about taking your bike over to Spain, don't be, it's easy. But here are a few tips in case you've never done it. A Brittany ferry down to Santander makes life simple, but be prepared for a long crossing of about 29 hours. That's still quicker, cheaper and less tiring than riding down through France though. Make sure your passport and ticket are easy to get at when you arrive at the port, and pack what you need for your time on the ferry and the next day's riding in one bag or box. Leave as much as you can on the bike during the crossing to save lugging it about and filling your cabin. But remember that you can't get back to the bike once you set sail. Oh, and have a wee before entering the port, as you might have to hang around a while. And Bennett's gives 90 days EU cover as part of your motorcycle insurance policy, but if you're with anyone else, do check you're covered. If you buy your policy direct from Bennett's, you also get Bike Social membership for free, with hundreds of discounts on bike kit, track days, events and more. Oh, and make sure your breakdown cover includes Europe. Now, depending on your bike, I'd not do more than 200 miles a day, or it can start to become a bit of a slog and you might miss the chance to stop and see things. It's up to you, but when I come back, I'm going to take it far easier. I use Google and Booking.com to find reasonably priced hotels and B&Bs with good reviews along the way. I like to know I have everything booked, but if you want to take each day as it comes, that's great. Personally though, I wouldn't do that on my first trip abroad. Be wary of high temperatures, but I went in a heat wave, and riding in the morning then chilling out in the afternoon worked. A mesh jacket really helps with a technical base layer. Don't wear cotton. Now, I tried riding without my jacket, and with the sun directly on me, it was actually hotter and less comfortable when I was moving than with the jacket. That's up to you, but I really wouldn't recommend riding without proper gear. Now, water bladder really helps. With cold water in, mine stayed nice and cool in my rucksack for a good 8 hours. Petrol stations are really frequent in Spain, and some have a restaurant attached, especially near motorways. You can usually reach these from the back roads running nearby. Supermarkets tend to be open from about mid-morning to about 9 PM or so, but Google Maps usually has accurate opening times. There aren't many speed cameras, and they're well signposted. They also show up on Google Maps, but they're a plain grey box at the side of the road, so watch out. If you can, set your speedo to kilometres an hour so you know what you're doing. Pretty well everywhere accepts contactless card payments, but if you get the option, select to pay in euros rather than pounds, as you usually get a slightly better exchange rate. But some small bars and cafes take cash only, so do make sure you have some. ATMs aren't common out of big towns and cities. If you've got any questions about taking your bike anywhere in the world, join Bike Club for free, where some of the world's top experts and adventurers will be able to help you. Now, you can have an adventure on anything, anywhere, though some bikes are more comfortable and enjoyable than others. Just get out there and enjoy yourself.